in the service of each other, and more importantly, in the service of young people. And so we're really fortunate that you're here today with us, and we want to welcome you, so thank you. So as I mentioned, our mayor is running a little bit late, so we wanted to get the show started with Chief Deputy Mayor Vanessa Garrett Harley.
So good evening, everybody. Thank you, Basil. We appreciate you. Mayor Parker is actually coming from another event. It's not that she's running late for here. She insisted that she come here herself. I said, I can do this, Mayor, I got this. She said, yeah, hold it down till I get there. I'll be there. I want to talk to them myself. And so we're going to mix it up just a little bit so that we don't keep you here all night, but I do want you to hear directly from the mayor about the things that affect this great district that you are in. We do want to start off by having the mayor's team. Those folks sitting behind me are either members of the mayor's cabinet or the senior leadership team for the city. So we're going to go around and have them introduce themselves just to give you their names and titles so that you know when you see these folks in other places who they are and what they do. And in case somebody has a question that pertains to their area of work later, you will know who you're talking to. So we're going to start on the end. No, you just
Hi, everyone. I'm Carol DeFries. I'm the Executive Director of the City College for Municipal Employment. Hi, everyone. I'm Carol DeFries. I'm the Executive Director of the City College for Municipal Employment.
Good evening, everyone. Kevin Belko, Philadelphia Police Commissioner. And before I pass the mic in front of this fine young principal, I used to coach him in baseball almost 20 years ago. And I'm so proud of the man he is.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carl Randolph. I'm the first Deputy Fire Commissioner for the Philadelphia Fire Department.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Adam Gear, Chief Public Safety Director in the Office of Public Safety.
Good evening, everyone. Perna Palantino, Deputy Managing Director overseeing the Capital Program Office.
Good evening, everyone. Kristen Del Rossi, Streets Commissioner for the Streets Department.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Deborah Carrera. I'm the Chief Education Officer.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Kay Wilson, Deputy Commissioner, Department of Fleet Services.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Isabel McDevitt with the Office of Community Wellness and Recovery, and my team oversees Riverview Wellness Village, which is just right down the road. Thanks for having me.
Hi, everybody. My name is Amanda David, and I serve as Deputy Commissioner at the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services.
Good evening. My name is Michael Resnick, and I am the Commissioner of the Philadelphia Department of Prisons.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sabrina Maynard, and I'm the city's budget director.
Good evening. My name is Tara Moore. I'm the first Deputy Managing Director in the Managing Director's Office.
Good evening. I'm Glenn Abrams. I'm Deputy Commissioner of Communications and Engagement at the Philadelphia Water Department.
Good evening. I'm Megan Goddard. I'm the first Deputy City Solicitor with the Law Department.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jesse Lawrence. I am the city's Director of Planning and Development.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Basil Miranda. I'm responsible for the construction side of the reorganized L&I.
Evening all, Pat Christmas, Policy Director in the Mayor's Office.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Arlene, Deputy Chief of Staff in the Mayor's Office.
Hi, I'm Roberta Cancelier, the Deputy Director at the Office of Homeless Services.
Hi, I'm Rob Dubo. I'm the city's Finance Director.
Good evening. My name is Yvonne Boy, and I'm Deputy Commerce Director.
Hi everyone, Nicola Mammas. I am the Director of Strategic Programs in the Office of Transportation and Infrastructure Systems.
Hello everyone, I'm Dominic Morellis, the Deputy Managing Director for Community Safety.
Hello all, I'm Leanne Campbell, Deputy Commissioner for Parks and Recreation.
Hello, I'm Bridget Collins Greenwald, L&I Quality of Life Commissioner.
Good evening, my name is Amy Mader. I'm the Deputy Commissioner for Public Property.
Good evening, my name is Gina Barroso. I am the representative of Procurement Department. I oversee Public Works and Purchasing.
Thank you, sir. So can we get another hand for our leadership team at the City of Philadelphia? Okay, it looks like we forgot two people.
That's my fault.
Come on, Tracy.
We can't forget you.
Hi, I'm Tracy Border with the airport. Hi, everybody. Dr. Palak Raval Nelson, your health commissioner.
Everyone go? Everyone go? Going once.
Okay, we can't forget Tracy or Palak. Very important. So listen to Principal Micah Winterstein. Thank you. This is a beautiful building. Thomas Holmes Elementary is, as you guys see, it looks brand spanking new, but it is a beautiful building throughout, and we are excited about what the building looks like tonight. And so we appreciate you hosting us and allowing us to be here. I do want to say this is the 6th Councilmatic District, as you know, so we would be remiss if we didn't say, have him stand and see if he has any words he wants to say. Our Councilman Driscoll, Mike Driscoll, the councilman for this 6th district. Councilman, you want to come up? Yeah. Okay. So he's modest tonight. But Councilman Driscoll is a great partner to the Parker administration, and we thank you, Councilman, for also allowing us to be here and here to support us tonight as we are in your town, your hometown, right? And we appreciate that. I do also want to recognize Lisa Dealey from the City Commissioner's Office. And also State Rep Ed Nilsson is here somewhere. I saw him. Okay, he's in the back with the Phillies jacket on. Thank you, sir. He's also a great partner to us as well, and we appreciate that. There are certain things that the mayor really wants to talk to you about herself, and you will see why when she comes in this door with that passion, and she'll be in here in a few minutes. So I'm going to take this a little bit out of order for our folks. We're going to go to slide 37. There we go. 2026, bring it on. It is the year 2026, and we are hyper excited about the America 250, PA 250, Philly 250, all of our celebrations for the year 2026 as we celebrate the nation's semi-quincentennial, the 250th birthday or anniversary, depending on how you want to call it, of the great United States of America. And so we are excited about that. We have a number of activities that come under that. I'm going to talk to you about them as they come under my portfolio. As you see here, the citywide block party bonanza. Mayor has been very intentional about making sure that the celebrations for America 250 are not just limited to those people who may have a higher financial means or money to buy tickets to go places, or that you live in Center City or something of that nature. We want everybody to be able to feel a part of the celebration, and so we are very intentionally doing what we call neighborhood activations or taking it to the various neighborhoods. As a part of that, the citywide block party bonanza, we're doing 250 block parties this summer in this city. Now you can apply to host a block party. That QR code you see up in that top corner, probably your top left-hand corner, if you take a picture of it with your phone, it'll give you a direct link. Right? If you are a block captain or you want to tell your block captain or anybody that wants to apply to be one of the blocks to give one of those 250, we have a kit. We call it Life, Liberty, and Happiness kits. In that kit, we help supply you with some of the things you need to be able to throw a really good block party, right? From decorations to I would say food, but the food itself is not in the kit, but let's say gift cards to be able to purchase them and other things, right, that you would need to be able to help throw a really good block party. Because Philadelphia is known for our block parties, and we want to make sure that we get all of that in the celebration, right? Now, in addition to the 250, or within that 250, 25 have been selected to be what we call super block parties. Those super block parties, we will be giving you a much larger kit and activation, and they would have stuff like talent, a DJ, other stuff that we will make sure that you get, giveaways, prizes. Some of that is included in the regular kit for the regular 250, but those 25 block parties will be on steroids, I'd like to say. Major celebrations, and they will be occurring in every councilmanic district in the city, so they'll be in every neighborhood across the city. And so we want you to make sure you're a part of that. You'll see at the bottom of the screen where it says new benches, new planners in every district. We have been intentional about making sure, particularly in the commercial corridors, wanted to make sure that those places look good. You will see in some of them the benches that say 250, planners that may say 250 or Ring It On, new trash receptacles and other things. You'll see some painting, some flowers, some decorating, everything we can to beautify the city and make it look good as we are preparing for an influx of visitors. Philadelphia was voted the #1 tourist destination in the country, and some say even beyond the country this year. And so we are expecting, frankly, millions of folks, millions of people will be coming here this year, and we want to put our best foot forward and show the city in the best light we can. Next slide. So specific to your district, District 6, we just wanted to highlight a few things. On September 27th is the Mayfair MPDC Moon Festival. That's an event that celebrates Asian culture, among other things. There'll be a lot of cultural performances, food, vendors, a lot of activities, and that occurs along that Frankfurt Avenue corridor. And then on October 24th is the Tacony Fall Festival as well. I know many of you are familiar with that. That's the 6700 block of Tarsdale Avenue. Similar type of festival that will have a lot of stuff out. There will also be some celebration of Halloween. It seems foreign to be thinking about Halloween, right, and we haven't even got through the summer. But I want to highlight that for you. There will be a number of activities that will be going on during the course of the summer as well, and there are a number of block parties scheduled for in your area and in this district that you'll be hearing much more information about. Next slide. So the Ring It On for District 6, what we're showing you here, there was something called Bells Across PA, and so we have over 20-something bells in Philadelphia specifically that were painted and drawn by local artists. These are two of the places where we have these bells. One is 5001 Grand Avenue, if you've seen it. And then there's one, 7343 Frankfurt Avenue in the Mayfair section, where it really which is decorated. And the bells have things that are reminiscent of the neighborhood or the community that they're trying to showcase. So if you ride by these bells or you're walking by them, take the time to look at them and really pay attention and encourage the artists and other folks who are drawing these. And then there are bells all across the city that you will be able to see. These bells are also part of a little scavenger hunt I'm going to tell you about in a minute that you can participate in, where you find bells, because all of the councilmanic districts have bells in them, like I said, across the city. Next slide. So 2026 Ring It On, we are beyond excited because we have the 2026 Access Philly is the name of the app. You can download it from the Apple Store, or if you have an Android, you can also download it from Google Play. It will tell you all of the events that are occurring in Philadelphia in 2026. It's a great app. You want to get it. It's free. Download it. You can go in, and it's also categorized in different ways. If you're looking for something that's like family or child friendly, you can click on that. It will tell you that. If you're looking for religious services, it will tell you that. If you're looking for music or concerts or anything that pertains to that, it will tell you that as well. When you click on it, it will give you some information about the event. It will tell you the location of the event. If you click on the location, it will get you to the directions. It will take you straight to Google Maps. It also has some safety features in there, direct connections to the police department and to our emergency management office. God forbid something should happen and you need it. It is also translated into multiple languages because there are a lot of people coming to the city this summer, and they will be using that app to help them get around, find out what's going on, where to go, what to do. I encourage you to tell your friends and yourself, download that application. You'll be happy to get it. I do want to say thank you to Melissa Scott. I thought I saw her come in. Is Melissa here? Melissa, stand up. Melissa Scott is the head of the city's IT department, and Melissa is the one that helped us create and get this app on board, and we are very, very grateful and thankful to her. I think this is only one of the second apps that the city ever did, correct? And so we're excited about that because it gives us a chance globally across the world. People are downloading this app, learning about what we do. If you have activities that you would like uploaded to the application, because that gives us the ability to do that as well, you can certainly notify any of us. So if you go to phila.gov, you can click on the special events. There is a link to the special events office, and if you tell us what that information is or email us or send us that information, we can also try to get it uploaded onto the application. So as you'll see the app continuing to grow as events are coming out this year. Now we are really excited about 2026. Some of the big events, I know you heard, we are doing a countdown. We got about 10 days before we start our FIFA activation. We're excited about the FIFA World Cup being here and the activation for the Fan Fest, which will be occurring at Lemon Hill. It's coming soon. We have about 6 of the FIFA soccer games here. Challenge game or culmination game will be on July the 4th. We are happy about that. We will have visitors here from across the world for those particular games. We also have on July the 4th, starting at around pre-show, will probably be about 7 o'clock. The actual concert starts at 8 o'clock. Look for a big public announcement where we take people out of their suspense and name some of the talent we have. It will blow you away. It's a free concert, huge free concert the night of July 4th on the Parkway in front of the Art Museum. You'll love it. Come. Fireworks immediately following the concert will probably be closer to 11:30, 12 o'clock. And so that is the big celebration. We are actually the biggest free concert in the country. There are many cities having them, but they won't be having what we'll be having. And so we're excited that folks will be coming to Philadelphia for that. Also in July, we have the Major League Baseball All-Stars. Any baseball fans out here? Anybody like baseball? Okay. We have the Major League Baseball All-Stars coming to the city. The All-Star game will be taking place, but all that week, there will be different events and activations that you will see going on for Major League Baseball. Also in August is coming the UFC Fight Championship. Has not been here in a long time. That's coming to the city as well, also supported by our governor and others. So you will be able to see that event. Juneteenth is actually June 19th. Let me go backwards. City has a big parade and other things, as you know. The festivals will be even larger this year. But from that time of June 19th leading up to July 4th, there's literally activities almost every day or every night at different places or different activations, right? We have a gospel night. I believe that is June 28th. But if you go to this app, you will get the exact date. You can check me on accuracy. Kurt Franklin is the headliner for that particular one. On July 2nd, that night, there's a salute to our military. The military bands and other stuff will be there, but Queen Latifah is the headliner for that one. We have some really great guests coming into the city at different times. All of these events are free. Most of the events are absolutely free. And just go to the app and or go on our website, phila.gov, and you will be able to see all of these things that are coming through in the meantime. So while we're waiting for the mayor to come back in to start, we will continue. Hang on one second for me. Okay. I'm hearing that she's coming up the steps as we speak. So that's perfect timing. She knows how to enter a room, right? So you know what? We will get ready to take the slide back to the first slide. And then when the mayor comes in, we will start by having our young people who have been waiting to greet the mayor come in and do their little presentation to her. And then I'll turn it over to the hands of Mayor Parker. So there's going to be some folks from our neighborhood activation centers who are walking up and down the aisle. They should come. Jordan and some of your folks, can you make sure that we send somebody on this side? There are people trying to hand in their cards. And thank you for that, sir. If anybody else has a question, we ask that you write your questions on those 5x7 cards that they're handing out. And we hold the cards at the end of the presentation. Then you will see different members of leadership stand up depending on the area of responsibility or who the cards are for, and we will answer, try to get to your question and provide you with an answer, if at all possible, okay? And you'll see there's someone on this side too, if you pass your cards over to the edge, that will be collecting them as well, okay. And so you can, this is our One Philly, One Future budget. It's really important that we come out. We're going all over the city. We do these town halls in every district because it's important to the mayor, it's important to us that you understand the budget and that we bring it to you so that it's not just what the little snippets you may read on social media or in the newspaper, that you actually see the thought and the intentionality that went into every piece of the budget that we do and the budget that is being presented for you. And so this is the opportunity for us to educate you and certainly also an opportunity for you to ask whatever questions it is that you need to ask. Here's our fearless leader now. And so if you guys would give us a hand for the 100th mayor who's coming, just give us a second. Mayor Parker's coming in. As we begin it. Yep. So we're going to, while the mayor's getting ready, we're going to bring up Principal Winterstein, who's going to bring his young people up and introduce them, who have a presentation ready for you, Mayor, but we'll gear them up to be able to move forward. Thank you all for your attention.
I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce to me the stars of the evening, which is some of our students from Thomas Home. These are our student council members. We have Ava, Alia, Jayla, and Abdullah, who are going to introduce the mayor, and we've worked really hard on their speech. And so it's really important that not only as we talk about investing in the city, part of investing in the city is investing in our young people, and this is a unique moment where they get to represent Thomas Home. So I want to introduce our student council members to come on up.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jayla Connolly.
My name is Alia Goma.
My name is Abdullah Verk.
And my name is Ava Ginnings.
As student representatives at Thomas Home, we are all honored to have this opportunity to speak with you this evening.
There are many things that make Thomas Home special to us, but two things that stand out the most are our arts program and our supportive staff. The arts give us a chance to express ourselves, be creative, and build confidence in our own unique ways. Whether we are drawing, painting, performing, or making music, the arts help us discover our talents and help us share our ideas with those around us.
We are also incredibly grateful for our principal, Mr. Winterstein, our teachers, counselors, and staff members. They encourage us, believe in us, and support us every day. They challenge us to work hard, help us when we need it, and create a school environment where we feel safe, respected, and inspired to succeed.
We would like to thank the City of Philadelphia for supporting our school and helping make these opportunities possible. Because of that support, students like us are able to learn, grow, and explore our identities.
Today we are honored to introduce Mayor Sherelle Parker, the 100th Mayor of Philadelphia and the first woman to serve in this role.
When she was just 17 years old, just a few years older than we are now, she won an oratorical contest that led to an internship with the city.
That experience, much like our experience in student council, sparked her interest in public service and set her on the path to leadership.
As mayor, she is working to make Philadelphia safer, cleaner, and working to provide opportunities to everyone who calls the city home.
It is with great pleasure that we introduce Mayor Sherelle Parker.
Let me just start by saying it's an honor and a privilege to be here with you all today. And listen, to be here and to see members of the Student Government Association. One, I hope what you recognized that you saw was teamwork, right? Everybody had a role. Wasn't just about one person. Everybody had a role in making the entire presentation a success. So when I think about Thomas Home Elementary, I need, where's Driscoll? Where's Councilmember Driscoll? Is he, Councilmember Driscoll, come on up here with me, Councilmember Driscoll. You just, now they just showed us that you don't do anything alone. Where is my partner and former colleague, Councilmember Nielsen, State Representative Nielsen, Chairman Nielsen, where are you? Did he leave? Come on up here. You representing the Phillies. I give you that today. This is good. Pat, I saw Pat's here. All of, can you come on up, please? Now you're shy. Now we're home now. This is the hometown team. Y'all supposed to come forward. Ward leader here. 57th. Am I missing anybody?
Commissioner Dealey is here.
Commissioner, come on up here. Commish. Who am I missing? This is important. Heather. Where's Heather? Heather Miller's here? I haven't seen Heather. Get your butt. To everyone in attendance, I want you to know I am always, no matter what neighborhood I go to, I am always very intentional about making sure that we recognize the hometown team. You see how you all came up here, and you have to be super proud watching your students in action here today. You all show what teamwork means and what it can produce when you're all working together. Well, your neighborhood, community-based leaders who are here, these are the people who are a part of the team that I am a part of. I, as mayor, I can't get anything done without making sure I work with the people who represent this community directly. And I want you to know I thank you, I respect you, and I appreciate you. And Councilmember Driscoll, we got to get this budget passed. Thank you. Thank you. Give a round of applause. Thank you, my friend. With that being said, we want to make sure we get through the presentation on tonight. I'm going to ask for those of you who are present, how many of you is this the first time that you've ever attended one of my budget briefings or town hall meetings? Oh, this is a good, look at my team. Y'all ready? I'm ready. Thank you all so much. Give everybody a round of applause who's here. We're going to get started. Transportation Chairman Nielsen, understand, and Council Member, former Representative Driscoll will remember. Councilmember Driscoll, you're supposed to speak. You left so fast, you're supposed to speak. That's the whole. I'm in the mighty district here today. But they know why this is important. When we got to Harrisburg, do you remember the first time we looked at the budget book? The budget book looked like this. And I remember looking at it saying, how am I supposed to communicate this to my constituency? they have a right to know how the dollars are being proposed. Their tax dollars are being proposed to be spent in the Commonwealth. And we started putting together meetings like this in every ward in my legislative district, even when people said the information is too heady. I remember that. It's too much. It's numbers. It's so technical. The people are never going to be able to sit through that much information. And then I remember being angry because now you're trying to tell me who my people are and what my people have the ability to absorb. They can not only just understand, but believe me, they want the details associated with their budget. And here in the City Council of Philadelphia, the legislative partners, every budget that the mayor introduces, we work through it together. The budget doesn't become law without the support of the City Council of Philadelphia. You are very fortunate to have a leader who is unapologetic about strongly advocating for you, and I'm proud to call him a partner and a friend and a colleague. Give it up for your council member Driscoll.
Well, thank you, Mayor. First of all, 4 months ago, we cut the ribbon right here for this brand new school. How about this brand new school? Look, we're getting it right. We're getting it right. This is a beautiful new facility, and we want eventually to get all our facilities up to the standards that this school is going to be. And it sends a message to the neighborhood around here, too, you know, that we're investing, you're investing in Philadelphia. I had the honor of serving with then State Representative Sherelle Parker in Harrisburg, and we fought to bring a lot of money back to this school district here in Philadelphia and other things. And then I had the pleasure of serving on city council, and then she left me to run for mayor. And as you all know, the 100th mayor and the first female mayor in Philadelphia's history. So we're so proud of what you're doing here. And thank you for thinking about Northeast Philadelphia. You know, this woman doesn't need a GPS to get to Northeast Philadelphia, right? So I'm not going to talk about anything else about that. But you know Philadelphia. You know Northeast Philadelphia. You know our issues up here. And you're going to hear from our friends and family in the room tonight. They're going to hear from you about the budget, and then you're going to hear from them, you know, what's important to them. So I'm thrilled to be here. It's an honor to represent the 6th Councilmanic District. I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. I live in East Tarsdale, and my family's still here. I raised 5 children here, and I'm not going anywhere unless you guys kick me out.
Thank you, council member. Let me just affirm, and it's very important that I walk through this part about who I am, because when I give you an overview about who I am and from whence I come, the hope is that you will understand that the budget that we've introduced for consideration by the council, it is steeped in my real life lived experience. First, am I the mayor today? I am, but you need to know I started as the child born to a single teenage mother. I was raised by my grandparents. Whenever you hear me in an interview talking about mommy and daddy, you all will now know that I'm speaking of my grandmother and my grandfather. They were the mother and father I knew. My mother passed away when I was 11 years old, and my biological father was not a consistent part of my life. Needless to say, like Langston Hughes says in his poem, Mother to Son, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. I learned very early on, and now I'm really going to start telling my age, that my life wasn't like Wally and the Beeves, right? Because June and Ward, that wasn't my reality on a daily basis. My grandmother was a domestic worker. She migrated to the north from Manning, South Carolina, and my grandfather was a Navy veteran who had a speech impediment. Daddy stammered badly, and he was physically disabled. Hence, this burning, desire that I have in making sure that when you're providing customer service, you have to listen to the people who need help. And so in order to imagine daddy on the phone trying to, address a water bill or a PGW bill, and he's on the phone, and because of his speech impediment, the person on the other end of the line is not patient enough to listen to him. As a little girl, that got to me. I also learned that when my grandparents moved here from the South, they lived at 12th and Poplar. 12th and Poplar was public housing that was called Richard Allen Homes. It was the first form of public housing marketed in the city of Philadelphia to returning veterans. That's how my grandmother and grandfather got there, because of Daddy's experience and service in the Navy. From 12th and Poplar, they moved to a duplex at 7th and Dolphin. And at 7th and Dolphin, that's the location where my mother got pregnant with me as a teenager. And the family lore would say, yes, they wanted a new environment for the family, so they moved on uptown like the Jeffersons to the 1900 block of Penfield Street in Northwest Philadelphia called West Oak Lane. How many people have ever heard of Cheltenham Avenue? Anybody? For those of you who know Cheltenham Avenue, you know one side of the street is Montgomery County. It's Cheltenham Township. But I live directly across the street on the Philadelphia side. But my grandparents became first-generation homeowners in my neighborhood. So I want you to think about the trek from the South to public housing to a duplex at 7th and Dolphin to own a house. Now, every time I talk about this house, because it's such great reverence for me, people are like, this must have been a super big house that you lived in. You're so proud of this house. Well, the house had a living room, a dining room, and a kitchen, 3 bedrooms on the 2nd floor, 1 bathroom in a hallway. Anybody know what it's like to have 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom? We had a basement. And we had, grass out front. Mommy would eventually, that wasn't her thing, so it would eventually become a patio. She would get the concrete out. But I describe my home, and this will tell you about who my grandmother was. In the summertime, I was what was called a streetlight kid. Anybody familiar with a streetlight kid? Like, you don't have to ask what time you have to. You do what? You better be on the step or an eye's view when the street lights came on, and that was an understanding. She didn't have to tell me that. She was such a force in my life when I'm describing her, and you'll understand from whence I come. She was my rock. My grandmother she could get me together and discipline me. She could do like this. She could do like this. No exaggeration. She could. There are young people here. I just saw one. She said, yeah, well, what did she do? She didn't say anything. You all know I just said a whole lot by that look. I come from her. When you knocked on my door in the summertime to ask me to come out and play, if you were invited in the house, you sat in the living room and you waited. Well, if it was the summertime, I would hope that you did not have on shorts. Because if you did, and it was hot, your legs would stick to our furniture. And it wasn't because it was gooey candy on the furniture or anything like that. But somehow, my grandmother came up with this bright idea that she wanted plastic over her furniture. Guess what I didn't know? How many of you are familiar with plastic on furniture? We weren't as weird as I thought we were. Guess what? My grandmother, a domestic worker. All of the matriarchs in my family were domestic workers from the South. That meant she cleaned the homes of wealthy families so that I didn't have to. And when she put plastic over our furniture, guess what I didn't know? That was a sense of pride from my grandmother, attempting to do her best to preserve what we had. Valuable asset and investment for somebody who wasn't wealthy. Well, because she was a domestic worker, that means the people she worked for, was she on anybody's particular payroll? Absolutely not. They paid my grandmother under the table. So let's say you have 3 to 5 clients and you clean their homes during the week. And during the end of the week, they leave an envelope on the table for you. And you take your envelope home. It's usually an envelope of cash, whatever it is that they pay. But when they pay you like that, that's called being paid under the table. What's happening when you're paid under the table? Now, I see some of my labor family here. That's what? It's taking you out of the tax structure. So mommy and daddy, who raised 5 children of their own, they're all adults, they find themselves raising their granddaughter. And now they're eligible for public assistance. That meant that my grandmother received welfare to take care of me in a real sense. I remember being elected when I found out I won, Councilmember Driscoll. After we worked all that time, they said, well, you know, now you're the mayor. You don't have to tell those stories anymore about growing up on welfare. No one needs, you're the mayor. I said, that's exactly why I have to share that story so that people understand that this is who I am now. This is where I am now, but I'm not where I started. Cash benefits, about $9,800 every 2 weeks. They used to have a number. We used to walk into a place at Cheltenham and Ogons Avenue. And it's funny how as a child you remember certain things. How many people remember Gimbals? Anybody? So we had a Gimbals, you know, on Cheltenham Avenue in the Cheltenham Mall. But right across the street was a place called the 3-2 Center. And that is where my grandmother used to go to pick up her food stamps. And when people say, well, she went to pick up food stamps, Sherelle, they didn't mail her the card? I said, you talking a credit card? I said, no, we went to go, my grandmother picked up colored money in books. Purple 20s, green 10s, brown dollars. And people look really strange, like, I'm like, well, you've never heard of food stamps before, huh? Really? Why? Subsidized food, cheese, 5-pound block, 1-pound block of butter, never sliced thin, made the best macaroni and cheese in the world on Sunday. My grandmother did that. Why am I sharing this with you? I remember walking with her, going into the 3-2 Center. And my grandmother was a pretty proud woman, head up, shoulders back. But I can also remember how those people who worked for the state, because those public benefits came from DPW is what we used to call it, the Department of Public Welfare. And I remember my grandmother getting to the window, but I would watch the energy, the vibe, the tone that they used to speak to her. So all of a sudden, this lady who had a great deal of pride, who motivated, inspired, and encouraged me to be the best that I could, it was like her humanity had been zapped out of her because she needed public assistance to take care of her granddaughter. It lit a fire in me that no matter who you are, what you do for a living, no matter your race, no matter your socioeconomic status, your zip code, your religion, your sexual orientation or identity, I don't care who you are, nothing is supposed to take away from your humanity. And even though you may have fallen on hard times, you deserve to be treated with respect. That's who I am, and that's what this budget reflects. It is called the One Philly, One Future, and this is my FY27 budget. And we're going to start with who you are. Because when people go on the radio, as Councilmember Driscoll, you know we get so frustrated with people going on the radio, talking to people in the newspaper, real loud, but they're all wrong. So I want to start by making sure you all have the facts. First slide. 6th Council District, all of the zip codes it includes. Total population, 163,000 people. 37 is the median age. Let's talk about the race and ethnic demographic of the 6th Council District. It's 45% white, 17% black, 22% Hispanic, almost 4% 2 or more races, 9.6% Asian, and very small percentage, not even 1% Indian. What does that tell you about the 6th Councilmatic District? It is one of the what? One of the most diverse council districts in the city of Philadelphia. You, in essence, Councilmember Driscoll, represent a mini United Nations here. There is some of everyone in the 6th Councilmanic District, and that's something for you all to be proud of. Education, 15% of the people, no high school diploma. 39% high school graduates. 23% some college, and 23% have a bachelor's or graduate's or a professional degree. Now I want you to think about that. I want you to add these two numbers up. That means 46% of the people who live in this district have achieved some semblance of higher education. And yes, Councilmember Driscoll, that puts the 6th district in a head and shoulders above many other council districts in the city of Philadelphia, because so many people in your district have achieved a higher education. Here is where I am trying to get the city of Philadelphia to reflect more of what you represent. This number here, these two numbers that I'm about to walk through, this was what the city of Philadelphia at large looked like some years ago. But we've seen these numbers change. Yes, 2.5 average household. The median household income here, Councilmember Driscoll, $62,000. That's one of the highest median incomes for any council district. So what's the first thing it tells you? You know we have a high rate of education, higher education here, and our median household income is $62,000. So you know this is a proud working class district. But here's where you really distinguish. In the 6th council district, only 38.4% of the people who live here are renters. Did you hear me? 38.4% of the people who live in this district are renters. That means 61.6% of the people who live in this district, they are homeowners. Homeowners, almost 62%. Councilmember Driscoll, 62% of homeowners in your district. Why is that important? Here in the city of Philadelphia, we have historically always been able to boast about the high rate of home ownership we have in this city. Over the last 10 years, what has happened? Do all council districts in the city represent a significant majority over almost 62% home ownership rate? Absolutely not. We're basically now almost at 50-50 in terms of the renters along with homeowners. I don't know about you, but why do you think my grandmother took such a great deal of pride in that row house on Penfield Street? There is something about the way you take care of bricks when you own them. There's something about the pride and the dignity that comes from home ownership when it's yours. Slowly but surely, we're seeing those numbers decrease. They're getting lower and lower and lower. Why? Because my grandparents, matriarchs and patriarchs of families, some of them have passed away, and guess what? They didn't have a will. They haven't left the property to a family member, so they may have a tangled title. Some people they age and they retire, so now they don't have the disposable income that's necessary, needed to make repairs to their property. And those people should be able to depend on the city of Philadelphia, because if you live here in this city with almost a 62% home ownership rate, that means that you've been paying your taxes, paying your fair share here in the city of Philadelphia. So when you apply for some help, when you get into your season, golden years, and you say, I'm retired from the city, from the state. Bobby, think about all of the building trades workers who lived in this area and their families. I want you to think about retiring, your mother, your aunt, your children, and now they need some help from the city. You don't earn what you used to earn because you're retired. So now you're only getting a portion of your income. So that means you get your pension. And of course, you paid into Social Security. Unlike mommy, you didn't get paid under the table. So you're eligible for Social Security. But by the time they add up your pension and your Social Security, when you need help to repair your house, because you've taken care of a grandchild or niece or nephew or some kind of unknown medical condition happens to hit you and or your husband or someone in your household, and you found yourself with an expense that you didn't predict and you need help, and then you fill out the application from the city and it says list your income, and you list your pension, and then you list your Social Security. And by the time they add it up, I just told you to apply. The mayor said this is great program available for you to fix up your house. And you apply, and you got the message back. What did it say? Sorry, Mr. Brown, unfortunately, you're not eligible. You say, I'm not rich. What happens? You make a nickel over the income eligibility guidelines. Lived in this city all your life. Paid your taxes. Didn't expect government to take care of you. You went to work every day. And now you need help. And then government says you make a nickel over. We here in this budget are doing our best to make sure that you get access to the high quality services that you deserve. And the people you see sitting around this room at these tables from all of these different agencies, they are a part of the organizations, and some are government, local government, state government, some are non-profit organizations. They provide services to you. Please give them a round of applause, because we couldn't do this without you. And then this is why we're here, because you can't be taxpayers and then expect, especially these people you see here. Did you all introduce yourselves already? So you met them, but I got here, I said, well, listen, I did feel really vulnerable the first time I sat at the desk by my house, by myself after I won. After I won and I'm sitting in the office, people said, well, how did it feel? You're the first woman. I felt vulnerable, because I made this commitment to the people, you, and I got a great deal of support in this council district, by the way. Thank you so very much for that. But I had made a commitment to make this neighborhood, this district, safe, clean, green, economic opportunity for all. And the first thing you learn when you become the mayor is you can't do anything by yourself. So all of the men and women who you met earlier, it hasn't been standard operating procedure. Many of these folks you will see on television or in the newspaper, but how often would you see them in your neighborhood? We committed to no ivory towers. They're here because of you. I get the opportunity to serve because of you, and we wanted them to be right here in the community so that you could see and touch them. Very important, because the service is important, and them seeing and hearing from you is important. Next slide. Let's talk about the capital investments. He left because I don't see his Phillies jersey, but because we served in Harrisburg, it's one thing I've never been impressed with. And you have to blame this on my mentors, Marion Tasco, Augusta Clark. People run for office. They knock on your door, you see them. They ask you to vote for them. They stand up and give nice, good, grand speeches. But if you don't see the impact of their leadership in your community, with institutions in your community, why support them? You should see in a very tangible way that you can see, touch, and feel the results of Councilmember Driscoll's leadership. And this number doesn't look the same all over the city, so Councilmember Driscoll, it's clear that you've been successful. $34 million. These are capital investments that have been made in the 6th district over the past 10 years. $7.3 million, Delaware River Greenway. Bridesburg Rec Center, $6.1 million. Frankfurt and Pennypack Park, $1.6 million. Baxter Trail Park, $1.46 million. Pulaski Park, $1.45 million. The Tacony branch, $1.4 million. Next slide. Now here's more. These are rebuild projects. Now, Councilmember Driscoll, you see, seeing this number, you're getting me in trouble. We shouldn't even be showing this number to people, because this number doesn't look the same in districts across this city. Why? Distant Rec Center, $8.2 million. Rec Center complete. Frank Glavin Playground, $3.2 million, complete. Moss Playground, $941,000. Pleasant Hill Park, this is only for the administrative and the pre-design, so that means they are about to go into construction. That was $118,000. Russo Park Playground, this is only for pre-construction. $3.9 million for pre-construction, Councilmember Driscoll? Somebody's been doing give him a round of applause if you will. This is very, very impressive. And then the Voight Rec Center construction, $10.2 million. Listen to me. I don't care if it's me as mayor, Councilmember Driscoll as your council member, Nielsen as your state representative. I don't care who the elected official is. If anybody at any level of government, local, state, or federal, if they are running for office and they are asking you for their vote so that they can have a seat at the table for leadership, you better be able to quantify what you have delivered for the community. Because if you can't quantify the results of your leadership, why should I be supportive of you? You've done well here. Next slide. What is in the Parker budget? We call it promises made, promises kept, economic opportunity, 2026, some amazing programs, support for small businesses, the Market East Revival. How many people in here remember Wanamaker's? Anybody? Put your hands down. How many people remember J.C. Penney? All right, now this is a telltale, because this was a big deal for me. When my grandmother put those clothes on for me to wait in line to go take the picture with Santa Claus in the Wanamaker building, that was a big deal. But how many people in here, and we're looking, how many people in here ever ate a hot dog at Woolworths at 11? All right, we got some Philly folk in here. I'm trying. It's never going to go back the way it was. How many people remember Strawbridges? Guess what? I understand that it's never going to go back to what we knew, but this is what I do know. When we had the Wanamaker and the Woolworths and the J.C. Penney's and the Strawbridges there was a sense of pride and dignity about, one, having the revenue to be able to go down there and shop, but also the aesthetic appeal. And over the years, we've seen the quality of life dissipate in that area. We're working very hard. Mark Squiller's the council member there. We're working hard on the Market Street revival, and I'm committed as mayor to seeing that happen. Tax investments for residents and businesses. Our municipal unions. You will, listen, we've had some tough times. I am never going to not allow the fiscal health and stability of the city of Philadelphia to be our #1 priority. And I won't move off of that for anything. Because for those of you who are here and you've been here long enough, how many people remember when Ed Rendell became mayor and we were facing bankruptcy in the early 1990s? We won't ever go back in that direction on my watch. I am committed to ensuring the fiscal health and stability of the city, and I don't apologize for that. But while we're doing that, we have to make sure that we are supporting and taking care of our most valued asset. And it's easy. The most valued asset we have here in the city of Philadelphia is our municipal workforce. This city moves because of the men and women who work in the various departments to keep the city moving. Give the city's workforce a round of applause. Tough decisions, but we support them. Education is the great equalizer. I am the first-generation college graduate in my family. I'm the first-generation Ivy League graduate in my family. I am able to be a college graduate because I am a product of the School District of Philadelphia. It was led by a lady, a superintendent who was, I don't know, now she just, you know how people say you don't know what you had until it's gone? Her name was Dr. Constance E. Clayton. Anybody remember her? I don't think she ever gave us a snow day. I don't know. She was tough. But high expectation. I went to William Rowan Public School at 19th and Haynes. Then I got bused to the Northeast. I went to Austin Meehan Middle School at Ryan and Sandyford Avenue. And from there, I got admitted into a magnet school, which was called the Parkway Program High School. So I lived at Center City because my high school was at 1118 Market Street. So, you know, I was in Wadsworth, in Woolworths, and in the gallery and everything on a daily basis. But I am who I am today because of the quality public education I received out of the School District of Philadelphia. My grandmother would say to me, it doesn't matter where you've started. If you would just do well, if you would just listen to your teachers, if you would just study, if you would just focus, you can be anything that you want to be. For me, education is the great equalizer. And if we don't do that and make sure quality public education is available for our young people, then we haven't invested in the future of Philadelphia, and I'm unapologetic about that. Connecting students to meaningful careers. Again, members of the building trades are here. You don't know what you don't know unless you've been exposed to it. When I went to Austin Meehan Middle School, guess what we had? In the basement, somebody here must have went to Meehan. We had a row of rooms that was like half was home ec, and then the other half was shop. And we had metal shop in Meehan. And I remember very specifically in metal, Miss White was our home ec. Somebody knows Miss White. You knew Miss White? She's in Florida now. She was our home ec teacher, so I was going to be good at cooking. My grandmother's from the South. You can't grow up in my grandmother's house and not know how to cook. But metal shop and wood shop. In metal shop, all the equipment is there. You learned how to make a napkin holder. So we made a napkin holder in metal shop. And my napkin holder was crooked. It leaned. So that meant I didn't bend the metal like the way the teacher had instructed. So what did I learn very early on? I wasn't going to be good. I wasn't going to be an iron worker. I wasn't going to be messing with any metal, but I had the experience. That's how I know. That is not standard operating procedure now for our young people. You have to get exposed to doing different things. I'm talking about technology. I'm talking about coding. I'm talking about all of the modern technology that will help you compete in this 21st century world. It's a global economy. We need to do that through education. Housing, extremely important to me. We did a $2 billion housing plan to create and preserve 30,000 units of housing. Councilmember Driscoll and his staff, they're here, and they know I'm unapologetic about advocating for home preservation. And so home preservation is extremely important to me because in a city like Philadelphia, do we have enough space to just outright build 30,000 new houses in the city of Philadelphia, especially row houses like we know them? No, because many of our neighborhoods are what we would call landlocked. And it's really interesting about this. The floors in the house, the architecture, the molding. I'm talking about good houses with good bones, but they just need maybe new electrical, new wiring, a new roof, maybe some new plumbing. And if you don't have the disposable income to make those repairs to your house, you can see this quality home that I guarantee you, if you put it next to some of the new stuff. And I don't have anything against new houses. The only thing that I do want you to know that the way they used to make the old stuff, you couldn't afford to make the old stuff right now. And the way they made it, if we wanted to. And we need to make sure home repair is a priority. So I'm unapologetic about that. We also have to make sure that we have targeted tax relief, and we're going to talk about that a great deal. Next slide. Public safety. Support for communities that were impacted by the Northeast plane crash. On my way here, I want you to know I was just leaving an event for public administrators at the Sheraton Hotel where our managing director, Adam Teal, former fire commissioner, he was just awarded one of the America 250 awards. And I was really excited about that. His work with the Northeast plane crash was recognized. People watched how Philadelphia handled that Black Swan event, and we were recognized for that. And I'm very proud of our first responders, police, fire, OEM. Dom is here. Yeah, you can give them a round of applause. They did an amazing job. Because I'm not far from there, public safety, what was considered the most dangerous road in America for many years? Roosevelt Boulevard. We, with a gentleman who used to be a member of the State House named John Taylor, he was on transportation. Another state rep, wow, I'm getting up there. Some of you ever heard of a name, Mike McGeehan? I worked with some really good people. Obviously Driscoll and then Nielsen worked very hard. When we got those automated speed cameras on the boulevard, and with the revenue is collected by the Commonwealth, not the city of Philadelphia, just for the record, I remember people saying they didn't like getting those letters in the mail. But guess what happened immediately? The number of people who were injured and hit, or quite frankly, who died in a traffic accident on Roosevelt Boulevard tanked significantly. It is now much safer than it was before, and that's when you make tough decisions that may not always be popular, but it was clearly in the best interests of the city, and I'm glad we did it. There's a lady, Miss Bird. She passed away, but she lost a loved one on Roosevelt Boulevard, and I remember her coming to Harrisburg to advocate for the cameras. So I thank them for that. We extended our neighborhood wellness court. Public Safety Director Adam Geer. For those of you familiar with the opioid crisis here in the city of Philadelphia, something that I'm extremely passionate about. Why? Because when you've loved, and I've loved a great number of people in my life, particularly as a child, who I can remember suffering from substance use disorder and or addiction, and I did not know what it was, because when they were suffering with addiction, no one called it a public health crisis. They never said that. The only thing I knew is that there was something that was going on, something that was different, and I couldn't stop them from doing it. Now we have a wellness ecosystem that focuses on long-term care, treatment, and housing. We have a model at Riverview that is being studied across the nation right now, because usually the kind of services and supports that are there, they're usually only available for people who can afford to pay cash out of their pocket. We're providing those high-quality services now, and that's being managed by Adam Geer. Give Geer a huge round of applause. Thank you, Geer. Along with health, Crystal Yates, Isabel, the whole team, police diversion programs, equipping the police department with body-worn cameras, the patrol cars with dash cameras, and to build the forensics lab to investigate police investigations. How many people have seen, is it NCSI, NICS? Do you see the modern technology that is there? Well, if you walked into our forensics lab when I got here, you're looking for some Jetsonian-like equipment. How many people remember the Jetsons? Any? No, they don't. So, okay, all right. I was 72. I can't help it. It comes out in every way imaginable. But we walked in ours, and I looked at the equipment. It's Flintstone-like equipment. No, really was. And, someone's guilt or innocence can be determined based on the technology that's there. We needed to have modern technology. I'm glad we've fought very hard for it. We have re-entry trailers and support for youth intervention programs. Clean and Green. Obviously, Mommy was a domestic worker. So she did what I call goofy things like, she would look at what the woodworks looked like in your house. So when you clean, she would check the woodworks to make sure your house was clean. So how can you frustrate me? Call my city Philadelphia. And that's what people would refer to us as, because we haven't always been viewed as the cleanest city. We wanted to do everything that we could to hire people in neighborhoods to clean our commercial corridors, to clean our neighborhoods. Have you seen anybody sweeping streets or cleaning in the neighborhood? Anybody? Have you seen them at work? You think they're doing a good job? Happy about that. Corridor, streetscape. Tom Conway, I don't know where you all. Give it up for Tom Conway and Clip. Thank you, Clip. Illegal dumping. Clean and Green Director Carlton Williams. You'd be surprised how many people, and until you see it, between illegal dumping and graffiti. I don't know if you saw it on Channel 6 News. Remember the team taking a walk across the Falls Bridge at night. You can't make this stuff up. See somebody, two people, just spray painting. And we just got finished painting the area. Why are you doing that? Why don't you just stop? Don't do that. Somebody turns in an anonymous picture. Guess what? These are not teenagers. They're super whole-grown people. 30s, 40s, spraying graffiti. And here's the part that pissed me off the most. From Jersey. Said, if you don't find... It was on Channel 6. They found them, but Tom Conway and his team, they are the ones who make sure all of the graffiti is abated. We're working on the illegal dumping, and that's not usually done by people who are out of our city. Believe it or not, that is usually done because you know we have sweep officers. And whenever we find trash that's dumped, you do know we have officers that go through the trash, and they get a chance to see, you know, look for mail to try to identify where the trash comes from. So we're working really hard to address that. Greening, gateways, and that's an important one for me. I don't know how many of you have traveled on 76 or 95, and you're going, or 95 in particular, coming through 76, and you're going down 95, and you can tell when you're in the city, because you look at what it looks like on the highway. And then you can tell when you leave Philadelphia and you get into Chester, like you can still see it, and you're looking around, and it doesn't look that great. And all of a sudden, it's like the sun comes out. You see a sign, and it says, "Welcome to Delaware." And all of a sudden, the shrubs look nice, and the grass is mowed. And no, I mean, just don't take my word for it. I want you to measure it yourself the next time you are driving up and down 95, and you'll learn something very clearly. What has Delaware done that Pennsylvania has not? They made it somebody's job to maintain all of the clean and green along the highways that are in Delaware. Until we focus and we are intentional about doing the same in Pennsylvania and even here in our city, we won't be able to have those kind of effects. So those are the kind of very meticulous details that we are observing and, quite frankly, coming up with strategies to improve. MLK expanded twice weekly trash collection, and my goal is to one day be able to say that that's citywide. Next slide. Close it out. External pressures. Yes, we have federal uncertainty. We don't know what will happen, and if any department budgets will be cut. We're not certain, so we always have to prepare. But we also know that we lost some revenue that is gone. You will remember we went through COVID, and we received some help. $1.4 billion, federal backstop dollars. Guess what? The money's gone. All of the COVID, ARPA, that was the Cities American Rescue Plan Act dollars from COVID, all of those dollars, they are gone, and they are representing not just a challenge for the city, but across the Commonwealth and across the nation. Because with those dollars being absent, now we try to figure out how do we keep service going with the absence of those dollars. Next slide. Here is our budget. This is important, and I need you to remember this. And that's why you have a QR code, because I want you to be able to have access to the details and also the facts. When you look at the budget here in the city of Philadelphia, the first thing I want you to know is that $3.4 billion, that's 49% of our budget, is inflexible. What does that mean? It's limited ability to change, or you've got to make significant adjustments to your operation and spending or elsewhere in the budget in order to change that. So that's almost 50% of the budget. 7% is what we reference as fixed. You can't do anything to change the spending level in the short term. And then we have our discretionary dollars. I want you to keep those in mind. What's discretionary, what's fixed, and what's inflexible. Next slide. Here, your fund balance and reserves. We have a group that's on the end. This is important to me that you know, because I've heard Councilmember Driscoll, somebody said, you can fund the school district of Philadelphia. You should be able to do it out of your fund balance. The city of Philadelphia has a lot of money. And when they make statements like that, the first thing I know is that they've never paid attention to what the city of Philadelphia's budget actually looks like. There is an organization called GFOA. It's the Government Financial Officers Association, and they recommend that every city, not just Philadelphia, always have on hand 17% of their overall total revenues, just in case a crisis comes to that city. We have not met that mark. We usually get to about 6% of those revenues, and you see what number we have from our fiscal year. And you notice that you see 5 years. Somebody's in the audience or watching from home right now, because it's just not us. People are at home watching this presentation. When you see us talk about fiscal year 27 through 31, are we just including 5 years because we want to? Since this is 2026, we're talking about FY 2027. Why do we have 5 years? Is the city of Philadelphia like any other city that can just budget 1 year at a time? No. Because of that law that was created called PICA, that State Oversight Board, number one, our budget has to be balanced. Is it true that when you're in Washington, D.C., if you're in Congress, can you deficit spend? Yes, they print money there too, but we don't. So we can't budget for 1 year and balance a budget for a year. When we submit our budget that the City Council of Philadelphia ultimately approves, Councilmember Driscoll knows our budget has to meet the muster for 5 years in a row. That's how we ensure that the city of Philadelphia doesn't go back to the fiscal instability of the past. So this gives you an overview of every year what we call our fund balance, the budget stabilization reserve, the federal funding reserve. Now this one was interesting. In hearings, you'll hear council members say often to us and members of the public, you know, we should be prepared if there's a crisis in the federal government. How many people remember SNAP benefits were at risk? Anybody remember when that announcement was out? People were saying, well, if the federal government stopped giving us SNAP benefits, the city of Philadelphia has to step up. Well, you think the city of Philadelphia has the revenue to replace revenue that the federal government doesn't give? We don't have that capacity. So we put together a plan, Chief Deputy Mayor Vanessa Garrett Harley, to do the best that we could in her team, but we can't. This is the cushion we have. Am I proud? Would I love to be able to say that there's more? Absolutely. But we've done the best we can, and that is we've budgeted $91 million in what we reference as our federal funding reserve. And here, the total amount of reserves that you'll see here, and then, of course, Cities Goal and GFOA. I just want you to know what you're looking at when you see that. Next slide. Here, just another chart. It shows you the same thing, but here with bars. Next slide. Here we show you our general fund obligations, and this is important because this shows you what we have to spend. These are the obligations that are included in the budget that I have introduced, and you see those dollar amounts. 6.9 billion for 26, 6.96 billion for 27. I want you to have the facts when people are trying to tell you about how your tax dollars are being spent. I want you to be able to have this in hand. Next slide. Here, what we're proposing, these are the general fund revenues in the plan. Again, you get to see them from FY25 on up to 31. And actually, this is not just the 5, this is 7 years. And thank you, Rob and Sabrina, for this. They went above and beyond here. Next slide. What we're proposing are general fund revenues. The revenues, now this is, I want you to pay attention to this, because the next time you're talking to somebody and they tell you it's not important or we shouldn't worry about business in the city of Philadelphia, I want you to be able to point back to this chart. This is not just numbers that are being pulled out of the sky. This is the chart that shows you where the revenue comes from that we use to run the city of Philadelphia. 73% of our general fund revenue comes from taxes. You see the portion of PICA, and now when I say PICA, you all know what that is. That's that Pennsylvania Intergovernmental Cooperation Authority, sort of our fiscal oversight board that's returned to the city. And then you see other taxes, some other funds, other governments, and then some locally generated non-tax. That's only 6%. But wait till you get to the next slide. Is this it? Here we are. This does show you from each of our fiscal years and what we call our 5-year plan, how much money the city of Philadelphia is projecting that we will have in order to run the city of Philadelphia. Nobody can make these numbers up. The city of Philadelphia works with an expert, our finance department, and by the way, you need to know who they are. Rob DeBoe, our finance director, please stand. Stand up, Rob. And Sabrina Maynard, our budget director, stand up. Look, give them a round of applause. This is Rob DeBoe and Sabrina Maynard. You can be nice to them, but there's nobody sitting up here who tells me no more than these two. But listen, they're the nucleus. So thank you both for your work. So these are all line items. You see real estate, you see BERT, realty transfer, sales, that beverage tax. I can't wait to get to that beverage tax in a few seconds. Amusement, net profits, smokeless tobacco, the construction impact tax. You see all of the revenue that we're projecting to take in to run our city. Next slide. Now, here's the slide that usually makes, people are usually like, no, well, that's not true. Yes, it really is true. Look at where the revenue comes from to run our city. And this is important when you're talking to somebody or you're listening to somebody on talk radio, because people sound real convincing sometimes on the radio in the morning or on television talk shows. And now you can have in your hand the chart, the deck, or go to the QR code so you can have access to this information. So no longer do you have to listen to what someone else says. You have the actual information yourself. Where does our revenue come from? Wage and net profits represent 39% of the revenue here in the city of Philadelphia. And wage and net profits, where is that collected from? Employers. Your employer pays that tax. And in essence, but that's from all of the workers, but they remit the tax. Then we have the PICA city account. You already know what PICA is. Then you have BERT. BERT is the business income and receipts tax. That's 14%. So wage and net profits 39, PICA is 15, BERT is 14%. So what did we just say? It's true. The next time you're talking to someone and you ask them, well, where do you think we collect the most money to run this city? Because you know what I thought it was when I first got here? I thought it would be what? Anybody think like me? I thought it would be property taxes. I thought property, because when you look at many other cities, and even like if you look at the counties around us, if you look at Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Montco, all of the counties that are around us, They collect more in property taxes than we do here in the city of Philadelphia. So they're heavily reliant on their real estate taxes. Our structure isn't the same. We're heavily reliant on business taxes. Two-thirds of the city's budget comes from business taxes. Wage, PICA, BERT, and net profits. They make up over $3.75 billion. So the next time somebody says to you that business in the city of Philadelphia is not important, you tell them we are not structured. Our tax structure is not structured like it is in many of our surrounding counties, and our property tax rates are not the same. And what else does it mean? In many of those surrounding counties, yes, it's true, they pay property taxes there. They pay property taxes. They have a mortgage, and they pay property taxes. Who has the ability to raise property taxes in those surrounding counties? Anybody? The school? The school board. So guess what? They pay a property tax, and they have to fund their public schools. But when you look at, I bought a house in, let's say, Buckchester, Delaware, Montco. I pay a property tax. That's already a pretty hefty amount. If you talk to anybody you know, don't take my word, talk to people you know who live there. So they pay a high property tax rate. But when you see the portion that they have to pay for schools, and you see how frequently they raise taxes and revenues, they do that directly, and they pay a higher rate. Our property taxes here in the city of Philadelphia are in no way, shape, or form even comparable to the property taxes that are paid in the county, because they rely on real estate taxes. We rely on business taxes. I want this a fact that I always want you all to remember. It's not that our property taxes don't matter. 17%. 17% of the revenue that we use to run our city comes from our property taxes. It's not quite, but $981 million comes from our real estate taxes. Sales tax, 6%. That's $342 million. Realty transfer tax, $353. This is the part that bugs me a whole lot. Quickly, if you will, go back to the rebuild slide. Rebuild. $25 million invested in this district for parks, rec centers, and libraries. $25 million here. Go to the slide right before this. Capital. And then 34. Then $34 million here. Now go back to the slide we just left. The reason why this part makes me so frustrated is because I remember when we were trying to pass the beverage tax. I remember getting so frustrated because people would call up on radio stations and they would say, the city of Philadelphia is funding everything through the beverage tax. I said, where are people getting this information from? You're saying that we're running the city of Philadelphia on a beverage tax? This is what I want you to remember, and I want you to notice, because people will tell you anything these days, and if they post it on social media, it really has to be true, huh? The beverage tax represents how much? 1% of the city's budget, and the 1%, where's it going? It's going into the parks, rec centers, and libraries, capital investments. Like, Councilmember Driscoll, you're absolutely right. I'm here. This is my first time here to see the beautiful building. I wasn't here when you all did the ribbon cutting. I'm going to leave here tonight, and you don't know how my mind is going to constantly spin that I'm here, and this is the high-quality amenity, the kind of facility that all of our children should be going to on a daily basis, and they don't. This is what we're fighting for. This is what we all deserve. So the next time somebody says to you that soda tax from Bobby, what year was that, Bobby, when we were going through that? 2016, we were going through this. We were fighting to do this. This is what it was. And listen to me. I want to say it to you because I don't ever want you to think that I'm going to be duplicitous in my communication. I don't want you to ever think that I'm going to change the message. I'm up here in the Northeast and I'm in a predominantly white constituency, or I'm home in the Northwest that's extremely diverse, or I'm in predominantly African American, Black, North Philly or West Philly, or Old Irish, Italian, South Philly. My message is not going to change. This is what we need. This is what we deserve. And when people start pointing to revenue like this 1% sacrifice, if this 1% sacrifice means that we could do this for schools or parks or rec centers and libraries, I want you to know I'm going to choose to do this every day, okay? Every day. I'm never going to run from that. Next slide. Fiscal health. Set future mayors commitment to pension reform. I don't know about you, but the difference between working for the city of Philadelphia and the private sector is like really clear. City of Philadelphia can't compete with what they pay you in the private sector. If you think about the work that some people do working for the city, it's true. They could earn more if they go do it in the private sector. But this is what the city of Philadelphia gives you that the private sector will never give you. It's a thing of the past. When you talk about pension and retirement security in the private sector, guess what they're going to offer you? It's not bad. It is good. I mean, I want it for everybody. But they will offer you something that's called a DC. Let me hear you say DC. That is a defined contribution plan. That's a 401k. But guess what? Now, don't ask me to do this. Y'all know I got in trouble for trying to spell eagle, so you know you don't want me managing. I'm definitely not the financial manager, right? But when you have a 401k, listen, who determines what you invest in? If it does well, you benefit. But if it tanks, guess what? You lose. We saw it happen. How many people remember 08, 09? People saw their pensions just gone, their life savings just washed away. Guess what you get with the city of Philadelphia? Let me hear you say DB. We give a defined benefit pension. That means when you work for the city of Philadelphia, you work for 10 years, you get what we call vested with us. Once you get vested, guess what? We guarantee you a certain income for life after you've worked for us. So what's the sacrifice? We can't compete with the private sector. That's why I'm always making sure people don't try to poach my folk, because they always try to poach our folks because they can pay them more. But we give health care benefits along with our pensions in the form of a defined benefit pension, and that is how we support our workforce. And it's really interesting, Councilmember Driscoll, we've talked about this and others. I'm always going to do everything that I can to make sure our pension system gets 100% funded. Fund balance and reserves, we talk about that. Next slide. Here, neighborhood community action centers. One of the things that I promised was a government that you could see, touch, and feel. Guess what that meant? I needed to have an office in the neighborhood that you could come to. The people who you saw introduced, who's here? Is this Basil? Is Basil here? Where is he? Come up here. Where's your team? Where's your partner? Come on. I don't mean to embarrass you, but I just happened to be at his graduation. I was the speaker at Community College of Philadelphia. And he graduated with his associate's degree. But when we promise a government that you can see, touch, and feel, guess what that means? Councilmember Driscoll has a district office. The state rep, the state senator has a district office. We put a neighborhood community action center here. We have an amazing team. They all work together to do this work. But guess what? If we had 100 offices here, it still wouldn't be enough. The demand, the challenges that people have, we do our best to provide the services, and we have made it somebody's job for you to not have to come to City Hall in order to get help. You can get help from in the community. I want to give Basile a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, appointment. These are the top 8 issues that we heard from you. So when people say to you, how did the mayor determine what that budget that she introduced, how did she determine what those issues were going to be? Did she just do what she thought was what you wanted? Nope. We use a data-driven process. Illegal dumping, abandoned vehicles, potholes and street damages, inlet cleaning, sanitation, affordable housing, graffiti, permits, violations, and licenses. Next slide. What have we proposed? Now here's the meat. Ending street homelessness by adding 1,000 beds and wraparound services. We've proposed a hotel tax that would generate $20 million annually. The pothole squad. Until you have driven on the street in the city of Philadelphia and had to get your car serviced because you ran into a pothole, some people thought, is she really like getting goofy about potholes, filling potholes? Yes, because it's one of the things that I hear the most when I'm out in the street and people are talking to me about problems. They call about potholes. We have to find a way to fund those. We do this with a proposed retail delivery tax that would be able to generate $15 million annually so we can fund squads specifically to address these issues with potholes. Next, this is closing a loophole. I didn't know this. Don't ask me how. People will figure out how to get away with things. You know now we do a lot of business online. Amazon changed the game with how we do business. So we have the sales tax here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and we also have a portion that goes to the city of Philadelphia. Well, our brick and mortar buildings and businesses that are here, they pay the state portion and our portion. Well, guess what we learned? The people who are selling merchandise, and let's just say it's online, and maybe not most of the larger firms, but if you have a virtual business or you're in another state, guess what they've been doing? They've been remitting the state portion, but they haven't been paying the city. But our people who are here, who own our bricks and mortar, they're at a loss, selling the same merchandise that you sell, but they're paying all of it. We want to make sure we address that. Next slide. School District of Philadelphia. Support for the School District of Philadelphia, an ability to be able to give SEPTA passes for some of our school district employees, not our administrators like our principals, but all of our non-teaching assistants. I don't know about you. How many people remember their crossing guard from school? Anybody remember the lunchroom aide? Guess now, and you remember the 9 teaching assistants? They call them, we called them NTAs. Now they're called climate staff. We value them. But guess what? They are some of the lowest paid employees with the school district. So, you know, if we were able to say, imagine that we know we want to help you, and we want to make sure that we provided access to a SEPTA pass, so you wouldn't have to take that out your pay. Well, it's something that we would be able to offer, and we're working hard to be able to do it. Now listen, this last one, a lot of people, and it's really interesting, until you've walked a mile in somebody's shoes, don't you criticize the decisions people made until you know the options they had. Don't criticize the decisions people make until you know the options they had. I want you to imagine this. Imagine running into the store and you think you have enough time, and you come out and you realize that the meter expired and you get a parking ticket. You're on your way to work, you get the parking ticket, and it's $50. And you say, I'll pay it on Friday. Friday comes, and you realize it's PICO, water, and PGW day. So you say, all right, I'm going to make sure I pay it. I can't pay it this pay, so I'm going to do it on the next pay. And then the next 2 weeks comes up, and you say, you know what, I'm going to pay it now. And you say, well, wait, this is mortgage day or either rent day. And before you know it, the cycle has been ongoing, and let's just say 6 months have passed, and now you're looking at all of the interest, the penalties, and the fees, and what was once a $50 ticket has turned into an over $1,000 burden because of all of those penalties and fees. This is what your mayor didn't know, and I don't mind saying it out loud. I didn't know that there were people who couldn't drive, not because they had a moving violation, but they couldn't drive because they had unpaid parking debt. How are we trying to put people on the path to self-sufficiency to help you? And it's not because you did anything wrong. You don't have any driving violations. You just couldn't afford to pay the ticket, and then all of the interest and the penalties come up. Now, I'm not talking about scofflaws. There's some people who don't care if the meter has run out. There's some people who intentionally, they don't think that they have to follow the rules. Lord knows I'm not talking about you. But for those people who are trying to do the right thing and going to work every day, and they found themselves having just some tough trouble, we want to be able to work with the parking authority to assist those people in being able to get access to a clean license so that they can drive to work. I'm about to tell you something else that you probably didn't know. Most of us thought historically that people in Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery counties, that they commuted to the city of Philadelphia for work. And that's true. We still have people who commute to Philadelphia. But guess what we have now that we've never had before? We've never had this high of a percentage of Philadelphians who are, we call it the reverse commute. They live in Philadelphia, but they work in Bucks, Chester, Delaware, or Montco. So now having access to your license, it's now a part of economic mobility. If you have a skill and a job is available in one of your surrounding counties, but you stuck with this parking debt, now you can't even get to a job to be able to take care of your family. And you're going to hear this from me over and over again, because I'm what I like to call a teach me how to fish kind of girl. Don't give me anything. I want to earn it. There is pride and dignity in what I earn. Why am I like that? Because I know what it was like to have something for free, and free doesn't make you feel dignified. I remember when I went to the supermarket with those colored money and books, guess something that I remember that I did when I was a child? I would say, oops, I forgot something. If somebody was behind me, you know how you see people and they have their money out ready to pay for their items? I would sometimes let people who had cash money get in front of me because I didn't want people to know that I had the money in the coupon books. As a child, I remember what that was like. So earning in my own right, that's extremely important, and I want to make sure that we make that opportunity available for all Philadelphians. Next, we have this support for the district, the cell phone towers. I didn't know it. You all probably knew it. If you look up sometimes on certain buildings when you're driving across the city, you'll see these different contraptions around. I didn't know that usually they represent the towers. They have these contraptions and they represent different cell phone carriers. Well, I didn't know in the city of Philadelphia they weren't recorded. It wasn't commerce. We weren't taking advantage of that business being done in our city. Every other county and city, yes, so the city of Philadelphia is late, but better late than never. Next slide. Homelessness, 1,000 beds. You can't make it up. Managing Director Teal, everybody knows where you were because I just told them. Give them a round of applause. They know where you're coming from. I told them already. Managing Director's Office, Deputy Managing Director Crystal Yates-Gale and Cheryl Hill from OHS, working very hard to create these 1,000 beds and wraparound services for our shelter system. Who would pay it? People coming to stay in our hotels. What would it? Just imagine if the room cost $200 a night, it would be $4 more. How much? Do we plan 1 year at a time or 5 years at a time? 5 years at a time. We're not like every other city. We have a 5-year plan. Sherelle, would Philadelphia be the only city in the nation to have this? Absolutely not. Chicago's at 17.39 right now, but by the end of May, beginning of June, you're going to see that number go up because Chicago just increased their rate. Houston 17, Atlanta a percentage plus a $5 fee, Washington, D.C., Boston, and Baltimore. So what does our focus mean? We want people, and it's really interesting, when you travel across the city of Philadelphia, how many people here are willing to know that you realize street homelessness is more visible now? You see, it's more visible now, right? When you talk to people, if you ever had a chance to talk to someone who's fallen on hard times, it's tough to hear somebody say, I don't want to go inside to that shelter. Guess what? Until you've been inside the shelter. And you look at the quality of what's happening inside the shelter, and then you ask yourself, everything I feel like about my real lived life experience, I didn't know what God was doing when he was doing it, but all of it I think was to get me prepared for this kind of decision making so that I would know what it felt like. Imagine needing that help and you say to yourself, would I want my child or would I want to be there? So we want to have a certain quality of services and the wraparound supports that people need. Mental and behavioral health supports. This is something we didn't talk a lot about in my family, and particularly in the black community. Mental and behavioral health was not something that you spoke about openly, right? We just didn't do it. Now, finally, the stigma is being removed, and people are understanding that depression and bipolar disorder, all those things are just like not abnormal. Those are human processes and mental and behavioral health processes and experiences that people have and they go through. And when help is needed, we should be able to provide that kind of assistance to our people. So I don't apologize about trying to end street homelessness here in the city of Philadelphia. I think we're worth it. Next slide. Delivery tax. You get it. We talked about the potholes. Listen, we have the potholes, but I want you to think about this. Did we have as many delivery services as we have now? Everything can be delivered since COVID, right? Everything is delivered. Well, that's more people using our streets. I want you to think about the trucks. I mean, all of it. Without any contribution to the city, where we are the birthplace of democracy. So that, one of the oldest cities in the nation. So that means we have aging infrastructure. You're going to use our streets for commerce. I mean, the billion-dollar companies, I don't know, they're not local. These are big tech companies that are doing commerce on our streets, and we're saying we need to have a retail delivery tax, 25 cents an order. And this is important to affirm. We also understand that there are certain items we don't want impacted. So what would be excluded? That means exempted. That means if you need these items delivered to your house, these items would not be subject to this 25-cent tax. If you need to get food of any kind, baby products, your medical medications and/or any medical devices, they would be excluded. So again, if you hear somebody talking about this, I want you to make sure that you have the facts. This would be to support our pothole squads. Next slide. How we got here with public education, you already know about it here in this area. We've been fighting for a long time. Finally, in 2023, the courts ruled, not us. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania have been derelict in their duties to provide a thorough and efficient public education to students across the Commonwealth. They underfunded us, and they underfunded Philadelphia specifically by $1.2 billion a year. I didn't say it. The legislature didn't say it. The courts said it. They told us, we knew it. We've been fighting for it for years, but it was finally affirmed. In 2026, based on the dollars that we receive, we have a funding gap of still almost $1 billion. Yes, Governor Shapiro, all of our legislative leaders, I'm thinking about Leader Bradford, Speaker McClinton, Chairman Harris, Chairman Hughes, our state senator in this area, State Senator Pecosi, fighting really hard but we shouldn't be satisfied until this is the natural standard operating procedure for the school district, and we are not there. This gives you an overview about our gap, talks about the adequacy gap, and what we need to close that gap. Next slide. This is what we have right now, and I want you to be able to simply communicate it to people. School district has a $300 million structural deficit. $300 million. Did the school district do something wrong? No. Did they mismanage dollars? Absolutely not. What happened in the school district of Philadelphia? Do you remember the slide where I showed you ARPA money? The American Rescue Plan money that we received from the federal government, about $1.4 billion, and I told you all of the ARPA money was gone. Guess who else received money and it's all gone? The school district of Philadelphia, to the tune of $300 million that it now cannot replace, because those federal dollars that it received through COVID, through ARPA, they are gone. Now, with the $300 million structural deficit, that means 340 school-based positions at risk of being cut. If you don't think there is a difference in the school with a teacher's aide and or the climate worker, the person in the hallway, in the bathroom, the person in the lunchroom, if you don't think the counselors, if you don't think that those non-teaching assistants, if you don't think those teachers matter, if you don't think that class size matters, that's when you look at the quality of public education and you start thinking about, what makes one school better than the other, and you start thinking about the number of students in the class. All of that has an impact on the quality of public education, and I wouldn't be here without one. So for me to be mayor of this city, there are some people who could see this and say, well, maybe we shouldn't do anything, and they got a right. Or they would just talk about the problem. They go all around in a circle about, yes, the school district's facing this $300 million structural deficit, but I believe that we're supposed to be architects of solutions. For you who are in this room, who elected us, our job is to figure out a way that we can fix it so that we can eliminate those 340 school-based cuts so that there are none. Imagine having this amazing school and then coming back and realizing that you're going to have to cut staff. Beautiful building, but you got to have the people who make the school run. The children can't do it on their own. Next slide. Proposal from the rideshare tax. $48 million plus the $2.4 million that we would get from the cell towers. That would mean $50.4 million in new recurring revenue for the school district of Philadelphia. So what does recurring mean? Because somebody came up with this fancy idea. You can't make this up. I was at a meeting and they said, well, why can't you just take it from the fund balance? Remember when I showed you what that fund balance looked like? And I said, well, one word in particular that's extremely important. And whenever anybody is talking to you about public education and how we fund it, don't forget what I told you about Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Montco. How do they fund their public schools? Through what? Property tax. Can we afford to increase property taxes at the rate that they increase it? Our people can't afford it. We need recurring. Let's say recurring. That means every year the school district of Philadelphia needs to know that this revenue is coming. So anybody who comes in and says, one-shot deal, let's just go find $50.4 million and plug the hole. Guess what they're asking for us to do? Be on our hands and knees groveling again next year. We, just like you and your paychecks, you need to have an employer that will provide a wage that will allow you to pay what you need to pay to maintain your quality of life. School District of Philadelphia is no different, and I don't apologize for advocating for the funding of public education. We want zero school-based cuts. Next slide. We talked about that. What would it be? This just tells you about how it would be implemented. And I'm just going to go straight to this one because this one got to me a little bit. When we first introduced this, we thought we could have one amount, but what we learned after additional research is that we would not have avoided eliminating the 340 school-based position cuts. And so we knew we had to get to $1 so it could be 0 cuts. $1 per ride equals 0 school-based cuts. That means no one will be fired, no one will be relocated, 0 cuts. But this was the part that got to me. When we introduced it, you would have thought that the city of Philadelphia would have become the first city in the country to have a local rideshare tax. And so, but when my finance director and my budget director brings the research over to us, I said, well, wow, how are we going to compete? We're going to be, so what am I, number 1, 2, 3? He said, well, you will be number 52. So I hold it. You mean we would be the 52nd jurisdiction in the United States to understand that a rideshare tax was necessary? They said yes. Then I said, okay, now you're talking about states and cities. Give me some examples of some states and cities who have these taxes already. They say New York, Washington, D.C., Baltimore. I'm going to use that. I was the council president was just at the event. Managing Director Teal and I were at. Great guy, but this was the one that got under my skin. They said San Francisco. I said, wait a minute, San Francisco. Isn't that where Uber and Lyft are headquartered? Are the headquarters right there? I said, I don't know. I just want to make sure. Do the homework. I mean, like that's their home base. That's where the companies are located. They said, you would be right. They're right. I said, okay. I said, well, what about San Francisco? They have a local rideshare tax. And said, well, how long? Did they just start theirs? Can't make this stuff up. I'm sorry. They had a rideshare tax since 2020. This is 2026. You've been paying a local rideshare tax in the place where you're headquartered, doing the same business that you do here in the city of Philadelphia, and you want to act as if the city of Philadelphia is doing something unusual, and not logical. That is absolutely not the case. San Francisco ain't no damn better than the city of Philadelphia, and we have expenses to pay for too, and our kids are worth it. Next slide. UNO, we talked about this one. Next slide. Citywide cuts. If council enacts our proposed budget, and Councilmember Driscoll and I, we've been talking about this. We want to specifically go through the numbers. And this is what my team had to make sure that they communicated when we went through this during our budget hearings. We told you the number of positions. 340 positions. That's what we would lose. How many specifically? Because if you're like me, I don't like people speaking generally to me. Give me details. What are you talking about? 149 teachers, 120 climate staff, and climate staff are those people that we talked about, and 23 counselors. So next time you hear it, 340, that just sounds like 340 is nothing. I want you to know we're talking about teachers, climate staff, and counselors. And that's 340 positions we're not willing to sacrifice. Next slide. In this district, what does it mean for you? How many council districts do we have in the city? 10 council districts. So we have 10, we're talking about 340 positions. We have 10 council districts. This would impact each council district. How many would District 6 lose? You would lose 14 teachers, 7 climate staff, and a counselor. It's important to be able to, and then I want you to scale that across the city. We don't want to see this happen here in our city, and we're trying to figure out a way to work together in order to get it done. And I do want to affirm for the record, Councilmember Driscoll has been unapologetic about affirming his support for public education, and it just didn't start. I'm going back to our time when we were in Harrisburg together, when we served in council together. Public education has always been a priority for him, always a priority for me. We're doing our best to figure out how we get there, and I want to affirm that for the record. Next slide. That's important. Thank you. Targeted investment, $2.2 billion. This is how we get to what we committed to. Next slide. Economic GPS. Councilmember Driscoll, you said this because I said this. I don't know if you remember this, Commissioner Bethel, but this was, and you know how you just say things, and I didn't know it was going to be caught in the newspaper when I said it, but they were saying, well, what are you looking for in a police commissioner? And I would say somebody who doesn't need a GPS to get to 52nd and Market, right? Or to get to Cotman and the Boulevard. Well, GPS will get you anywhere you want to go when you're driving now. I think the city of Philadelphia should have an economic GPS. That is directional leadership in our growth, prosperity, and security. Next slide. Investments by priority. When you get a chance, when people say, well, she made this commitment to making Philadelphia safe, clean, and green with economic opportunity for all, I wanted you to have the facts. You can look at what we've proposed on the operating side. Think people. Our operating budget it includes everything associated with all of our people processes. When you think about the capital budget, think about the bricks and mortar. Everything we needed to build this, that's the capital side. You can see what is public safety, clean and green, housing, economic opportunity, core support. Let me leave you with this because I'm unapologetic and I get my butt kicked a lot about this. I am unapologetic about affirming that public safety, if we don't have public safety here in the city of Philadelphia, guess what? Nothing else matters. No business will want to be here. People will not want to live here. You will not want to raise a family here. You will not want to buy a home here. So I have been unapologetic about supporting public safety in the city of Philadelphia. And somebody said, cut the police department's budget. They said, cut the commissioner's budget. You all matter. What you see, tell me this. Do you feel, I'm not saying we're perfect, do you feel a little different here in the city of Philadelphia? Can you tell we're trying to do something a little different in this city right now? Can you see it? Do you feel a difference with Commissioner Bethel's leadership? Next slide. I don't apologize about that. This talks about our investments. You can read through those numbers. You see our operating investments and the capital investments that we're planning over the next 6 years. When we're talking about our capital budget, we do it in 6-year terms. When you hear us talking about our overall general fund budget, that's where we talk about our 5-year plan. Next year. Next slide. Here, proposed investments. Economic mobility. I don't know about you, and Anton, I don't know if Anton is here. When I grew up, I couldn't wait to get my working papers so I could go to work. We did it. We got our working papers at Broughton Lehigh. I worked at Dunkin' Donuts on Market Street. I worked at Burger King on Castor Avenue. It was important because if I went to go work, I could go to Strawbridge's or JCPenney, and I had my own money. And that was a super big deal. Guess what we want to do? We want to create 1,000 new career-connected learning slots for our young people. Now, in our budget, last year we did, was it 8,000? We funded 8,000. These are what we reference as not just summer jobs, but internship opportunities where you can earn while you learn. Last year, we had 8,000. This year, we've budgeted to get to 9,000. That's what's in our budget. We put 9,000. That's 1,000 more. And while that's good, our goal is to get to 10,000. So what we've said is to the private sector, we've budgeted for 1,000. City can't do it alone. We need public-private partnerships. Will you fund 1,000? And we're working with the Chamber of Commerce now. Financial empowerment, investing, support for small businesses, street homelessness, housing, wellness, all the things that we've talked about so far. Next slide. Education, public safety, transit, Don't you ever let anybody tell you that we don't pay our fair share as it relates to funding mass transit. SEPTA is the nucleus of the economic, well-being of southeastern Pennsylvania. And if there is no SEPTA, it is the engine of it all. If there is no SEPTA, no transportation in our 5-county area, the economy in southeastern Pennsylvania tanks. And let me tell you a little secret that you should be very proud of here in the Commonwealth. Driscoll, I don't know if the numbers have changed. When you and I were in Harrisburg, I think the Commonwealth's population was maybe at about 13 million. Guess what? 40% of the revenue, general fund revenue, that it takes to run the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, guess where 40% of it comes from? Southeastern Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Montco. We do. So if anybody, again, asks you about what we contribute, we do here in the city of Philadelphia. Capital projects, city's workforce, extremely important. Next slide. Home, housing, housing, housing. We went through it. Unapologetic about it. Whole lot of different programs. My baby, 2 babies that are there that I'm really excited about. One is a One Philly mortgage program with no PMI. I remember those predatory loans. And I want you to imagine working for the city of Philadelphia. I'm going to tell you where it comes from. When we were going through a really difficult time. And to have somebody tell you they get up and go to work every day, but they still can't get approved for a mortgage. Why? Credit score might be too low. You don't know what challenges they've had. Debt to income ratio is out of whack. We're working on creating a program now that will help us with affordable housing and workforce housing, because I don't ever want to hear from a teacher, a 33 employee, a 47 employee, a paramedic, or an EMT. I don't want to hear from any of those people that they work for the city, but they can't afford to get a mortgage so that they own a house in the city. So we're really excited about that, along with our expansion of our Philly First Home program in supporting down payment and closing cost assistance. Support for renters is there, acquisition, curbside appeal, extremely important, so I'm excited. Next slide. These are all of the property tax support programs. Driscoll, you remember this. Philadelphia forgets that it would not have these property tax support programs if the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania would not have delivered the enabling authority. The city couldn't do any of this. Homestead exemption. If you have a house, if you own a house and you live in that house, and the house is worth $150,000 in the city of Philadelphia, you should sign up for what? Homestead exemption. What does this mean? If your house is worth $150,000, $100,000 is immediately exempted from being taxed. So that means when you get your property taxes, it should be taxed on what? $50,000. House is worth $150,000. Homestead reduces the assessed value. That means what the city of Philadelphia taxes as it relates to your property taxes by $100,000. There's one eligibility requirement. Because somebody asked me this, and I said, you know we can't do that. You have to live in the house. It has to be your house. You can't tell me you own 5 houses and you want a homestead exemption on each of your houses. We can't do this. This is for people who live in their house. Next, I remember when this happened, we saw neighborhoods where there had been a lot of vacant houses. People had come in, they had built all around. The neighborhoods have been really raised up. And what happened is the long-term owner occupants, I see former state representative Mike O'Brien. I see him now because his district was heavily impacted. That's where we developed the long-term owner occupant program, the LOOP program, because it caps the assessed value at 1.5 times the base value, or 1.75 if you're using like the lowest assessment of up to the prior 5 years. And that was to ensure that the people, you've been living in your neighborhood for I don't know how many years, your property taxes were at a certain rate. All of a sudden somebody comes in and they build all these new fancy, really nice, the housing units around you, and you like it because the value of your property goes up. And that is good, because the value of your property going up means you have more equity. That builds more generational wealth for you and your family, but the equity and the generational wealth doesn't mean a thing when you can't afford to pay the property taxes. So Loop is supposed to help with that. Next is UPA. That's our owner-occupied pavement agreement program. I was just shocked when we got to Harrisburg that it was not codified that we could make payment agreements. I grew up on layaway. I could pay you something here, and I could come each week to pay on what I wanted, and then when I got finished paying for it, I could have it because I had paid it all. Well, what about people who can't afford to pay their property taxes all at once? What if they needed to make monthly installments? It's not codified. So you mean that could just be changed? Yeah, we codified it when I was in Harrisburg. Next is the senior tax freeze. We have this, a low income tax freeze. All you have to do is reach out to us, and especially for seniors that aren't here. And again, I keep getting beat up by the people who are at home. I know you're watching. Even if you don't need this information, if you know a senior or someone who needs this information, please provide it to them. Next slide. You already did 2026? So let me just end with this. Thank God. How many of you remember the Gita with the heater? Anybody? So listen, if we decided that we would do a dance party in the community, and although we will never be able to get Jerry Blavitt back, we do still have the music he played in our hearts and our spirits. If we brought one of his apprentices here who could play like Jerry Blavitt could play, do you think that would be a good party to have in the neighborhood? Anybody? Well, we're going to make sure we do it, and you're going to see the mayor do what none of you probably think the mayor knows how to do really well. It's just like how I sound when I'm in the shower. I think I can sing. Langston says when you're in the shower, but I really think I'm a really good dancer in my own mind. And they're like, don't do it, don't do it. You know what happened with the Eagle stuff, like don't embarrass yourself anymore. Please make sure you download the 2026 app. Thank you all. So was it worth it? Was it worth you getting the information? Thank you. All of the folks who have questions, we're going to ask our commissioner. Come on up here, commissioner. Listen, we were at a conference. We were at a conference today, and look, we got a lot of questions. And I tell people, I'm a nice person until you start acting like you're going to poach my team. I want you all to know we get calls about him regularly. We have the best police commissioner in the nation, in Kevin Bethel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So quickly, the first question, I work for SEPTA. Catching public transportation can be a challenge for passengers. SEPTA has a limited number of transit cops to police the system. Is there anything that can be done to help SEPTA with safety, especially considering all the events in our city this year? So that's a great question. Two things. One, you'll see in our strategic plans we'll be releasing later on this month that we are going to be planning to be working more along with SEPTA. We committed to do some surges into their line to support them, understanding their staffing levels as well as ours are a challenge. As it relates to FIFA, we were able to receive some overtime for the federal government to support the FIFA operations. There's a good portion, I believe a little over $1 million that'll be going to SEPTA to support them to increase their staffing and hiring during the FIFA. So you will see a surge in that space. There's a question around curfew. When will curfews be enforced for these preteens and teens who seem to be bringing back flash mobbing here in the city? I know it's hard to enforce. It's 24 hours per day, but can parents be held accountable? The latter, I mean, that's a challenge with the parents being accountable. One of the things that we have done is if you go to the Philly.gov site, Deputy Mayor Vanessa Harley, we just announced along with the mayor, a lot of programming for young people. If you go to the site and you scroll down, you'll see an area where you can really click on where there's a lot, I mean, there's layers and layers of activity for young people to do over the summer. In addition to the jobs that the mayor described, there's a lot of activities. We also have at our disposal the community evening resource centers. There's 6 of those established across the city where young people can go in those centers from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. And it's really a great place because they work with those young people, they feed them. But I also want to remind you of what curfew ages look like. If you're over 18, you're not curfew, so we have a number of young people. Our young people are smart. If you're 14 and older, you can be out to 10 o'clock. If you're under 13 and under, you can be out to 9:30. So a lot of my young kids start their behavior way before those time periods with the knowledge of that they're not curfew at that point. And part of our policy, too, is when we do engage a young person, if we're in close proximity to their home, we send them home before we take them to one of the centers. But as the captain is here, Captain DeBlaise is here, I did that right? I butchered your last name? I hope I didn't. I mean, the captain's here. I think I have him stand up and I can recognize him. So I know he's working hard with his team to do that. The next question, public safety. Now, this was a hard one, but I'm going to read it anyway. I'm going to follow up with him. Public safety is always an issue. Not enough police officers on the public transit, a lot of gang activity, car thefts, robberies, criminals need to be held accountable, not given a nap on this, a smack on the wrist. They're emboldened because of soft on crime policies. Do you commit to clean the streets of criminals and make the city safe? So I'll do that in two parts. I think for those in the Northeast, I just want to make sure you're clear that the work that the captains across this division, or Captain O'Brien and others, are doing absolutely incredible work. The numbers, I mean, the numbers are down significantly with violent crime. And even though, you know, I've been up here a couple of times talking about the auto thefts. The auto thefts, I think he's got a 50% cut in his auto thefts. I think that's right, close to right. And part of that is not just us. It's the campaign we start up here about the Faraday bags and making sure you're securing your vehicles. Ladies and gentlemen, it's working. So if you continue that process, it's always been a collective effort. But I also want to share with you, I think you heard the mayor say that her first priority from the time I met her in the backyard of her house was about safety. And if you don't see that commitment, then I need to step up my game. We are fully committed to make this city safe. We're heading in the right direction. But did you notice recently that there's crime in the counties? Just want to keep an eye on it. As our crime has come down, you're already starting to see, like, you mean Bucks County got a little crime, and Montgomery County got a little crime, and Delaware got a crime, and so we're headed in the right direction, so I appreciate that. One of the final questions is, what can we do about aggressive drivers not being pulled over? I mean, again, we are facing some challenges. I spoke to someone earlier as well around Cottman Avenue, and I called the captain when I was standing there with her because, I mean, she was talking about, you know, Frankfurt Avenue. We see the impact of being off of the boulevard. Now folks are taking on to the other corridors. We've done some surges up here with personnel. We'll continue to do that. Not enough officers in the 15th district. Well, we recognize that we are down. We've been very transparent about our reductions, but we are surging back, right? The 15th district has one of my largest deployment, but is one of my largest and most populated and most demanding districts as well. So we've been continuing to add personnel. We recently added additional personnel. We've added drones into the area to help us with some of the force multiplier, but we're going to continue across the city. Over the next 2 years, you'll start to see most of my patrol districts will be back to their full staffing. We will be reducing other areas, but we're working to do that. I'm going to kick it over to my colleague because there was two questions. Where you at? Where you at? Here she comes. Come on. Well, she gets to jump in the line. Yeah, because cut the line because there's some pothole questions.
So streets in. Thank you, sir. Streets in the Northeast are a disgrace. Sinkholes on Clovering Road and Mower Street. Bustleton Avenue speed humps are a mess. We will look into these locations and make sure that we definitely address the messy situations.
Okay, there was one final question. I'll follow up with the person about the but traffic hold the stadium. I mean, we've done a lot of work down in the stadium around traffic. Right now, we've been able to use our drones to help us in that operation. We've been using a lot of the public safety officers who are not sworn officers in that traffic deployment. We recognize there's some key issues. We're continuing to get better at that work. So for those who have traffic issues down there, we promise to continue to work and do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Bridget Collins Greenwald, the L&I Quality of Life Commissioner. I have a question here that says, does L&I inspect new and old rental properties? Yes, indeed, we do. We do inspect rental properties. You can call 311 if you have a complaint about a rental property. We also started this year a proactive rental property inspection program. We call it PRIP, where we're actively going out, and if you have a rental license, we're going out and inspecting them. If you don't have one, we're going out and finding them. We're also at the neighborhood next, so we are in the 6th Council District at least once a month, so you can go there if you have a specific problem. It looks like someone on this card had a specific address, so I sent that to our assistant, and she will be in touch to actually clear that one up.
Again, Dr. Deb Carrera, Chief Education Officer. This is a great question. If the ride share tax is enacted, can we be assured that there will be no more shortfalls in the school district's budget that will require increased or new taxes, or begging Harrisburg for more education funding? Philadelphia residents already carry a high tax burden. And so the mayor presented the budget, and you saw that the courts stated that the whole Commonwealth of Pennsylvania was funding schools unconstitutionally. Does anybody remember what's that number that the school district should be receiving every year that they're not? 1.2 billion. So you're already underfunded. The rideshare tax, there has not been a tax since 2013, 2014 to help the school district, over 13 years ago. So this rideshare tax is going to be recurring dollars. It helps, but I need us to remember that we are advocating to the state because we're already underfunded by $1.2 billion. The state is paying some of it, but it's just not coming as quickly as possible. And this is more of a comment. Please consider having March 27th, the official Philly Flag Day, to celebrate the first city flag in America. So we will, there, it had to be you. All right. So Philly Civic Pride Curriculum, learn about the Philly flag. Wow. We learned a lot today. We learned a lot.
There's also garden of peace, the anchor of hope, the ecosphere of justice, and the cornucopia of prosperity. So with peace, hope, justice, and prosperity, we can...
I love it. Let's make it happen. I love it. Thank you.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that, but I'll try. The question I had is about how the sales tax is used, and it is really important to us. It's about 6% of our revenues, and the extra 2% that we get came in two tranches. One was back in the early 90s when the city was having a financial crisis, and it was a big help to getting us into financial stability. That portion of the tax comes to our general fund. At one of the times when the school district was having a fiscal crisis, there was another percent added, and that is chopped into two pieces, one that goes to the school district and one that goes to the pension fund. The pension fund percent has been really important. It has helped us move the pension fund from under 50% funded to being 100% funded within the next 7 years. So that has been really crucial for our fiscal health.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jesse Lawrence. I'm the Director of Planning and Development, and we oversee everything housing. And my question is, of course, housing related. And if the mayor were here, she'd probably jump out of her seat as I was reading it. But I think this question actually came probably before she got into the details about, or high-level details about the home plan. The question is, as future home buyers, we were distraught to learn the income cap is very low. All of our lives, we've heard the first-time home buyers have incentives so that the city can thrive with citizens and homeowners, which bring in property taxes for the city, a win for everyone. What can the city of Philadelphia do to help folks in the median income range? Well, funny you should say that. You heard the mayor attesting to this particular administration's commitment to helping the middle income band here in Philadelphia. You heard her talk about that One Philly Mortgage. That is a new program that is crafted specifically to speak to that particular group of folks. So in terms of area median income, I think the question makes reference to income cap. That income cap for that One Philly Mortgage program is at 120% of AMI. So if you do your numbers, it's higher than most places when it comes to anything that's cap related. And we also have a program that is called One Philly Mortgage, not One Philly Mortgage, but the Philly First Home program. And that is the down payment assistance tool that will get folks help get folks into their home. And that maxes out at 100% of AMI. So these are two particular programs that are looking to make sure that we're tapping into the resources that we can provide to middle income folks that are typically priced out of some things. So stay tuned for the rollout of that in the next month or so. We are planning to kick the summer off with that One Philly Mortgage program. Again, the mayor talked about it a little bit, but that is our tool for some sort of mortgage loan product that will allow Philadelphians to get access to homes through the loan. It'll be maxed out again at 100%, 120% of AMI. The good thing about it is it'll have a reduced interest rate. It also will eliminate some PMI, so stay tuned for that, but that's exactly what we're committed to, being able to provide those resources for the middle income band folks. And constituent, if you're still here, feel free to stop me as I'm walking out or before you walk out, and we can talk a little bit more about your situation and we can get you the guidance that you need. Thank you.
Thank you. So this question is about Riverview Wellness Village, and it is a very detailed question and also more of a comment. But for those of you who don't know, what we're doing over at Riverview Wellness Village is it's a combined effort that combines housing with behavioral health services and primary care. And this question asks about the data systems that we're using and the funding and the feasibility to connect to electronic medical records, like when you go to the doctor and they take all your notes. And so right now, we have multiple providers using multiple systems. They are funded to have those systems. What we are working through, as you heard the mayor say, is we're really trying to build out a new model and a new way of doing integrated services. So we are looking at ways that we can integrate data systems and be as effective and as efficient as possible while maintaining privacy and following all the HIPAA and other requirements when you run clinical programs coupled with housing. So more to come on that, but thank you for this detailed question.
Good evening, Kristen Del Rossi, Streets Department. I have a few questions. This one I already answered. Currently live at the 2800 block of Willits. I have been in contact with the Streets Department, PennDOT, and 311. 2800 Willits Road needs speed humps. The traffic is terrible, cars speeding up and down. It's been so many accidents, it's terrible. Please, can something be done? Kids have to cross the street to get to Pollock Elementary School. Good news, Pollock Elementary School will have speed cushions this paving season. And we'll look into the 2800 block of Willits and get back to you on this one of where it is. How do we get more street lights on the 3000 block of Tremont Street? We will look into it. We will look at the light levels, and we will be in touch once someone goes out to investigate the block for the lighting. This is a two-part question here. Why can't our driveways in the northeast, Grant, Tremont, Fairfield, etc., get some type of lighting in the back for something in safety concerns? We can look at the alleys. Currently, we are looking to stand up an alley program again. We're working with 311 to intake the request in the system. We will look where these driveways and alleys are in relation to where our program is. We'll be in touch. We will call you. You left your contact information here, and we'll talk about the details. And then last question, why can't our driveways be plowed like the smaller streets across the city of Philadelphia? Whew. Well, Mayor Parker has tasked us with primary, secondary, and tertiary streets. We will definitely look at these driveways in relation to where they are with our snow maps, and we'll be in touch. We are a long way, but we will be prepping for our snow season very soon. We will be in touch about the driveways with the smaller streets. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Palak Ravel Nelson. I'm the Health Commissioner, and my question is that there are increased rats at Belgrade and Duncan Ferry in 19154. So the Health Department does deal with rats. We have a specific division that focuses, it's called vector control, and we go out and we address rats. We bait, we treat for rats, we'll come and do investigations and all of that. I want to be clear though, the rats have not increased in our city. It sounds a little geeky, but we are very mindful of the rat population and rat numbers throughout our city. We actually focus on exterior sites. We have data systems in place to mind how many rats we have. So the rats are not on the increase. We are just outside more, right? We've had a very rough winter. And so most of us have been in our homes, and so now things are overgrowing, it's spring, and the rats are out and about, but we are also out and about. We engage in what's called a rodent survey, and we work with neighbors, and we work with sanitation, the streets department, the water department, and a host of other city departments to address the rat issue. The gentleman that provided this complaint, I'll make sure we follow up with you. In the interim, if you are seeing a rat, or you think it's a rat, right? We don't treat mice, just rats. You can call 215-685-9000 or 311, and we will make sure we get out there to address your rat problems, okay? Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Michael Matella. I'm the Assistant Director in the Office of Clean and Green Initiatives. I'm the Assistant Director of Data, Information Technology, and Evaluation. My question is, why doesn't landlords provide trash cans to renters? The city made everyone get recycling cans. Why not landlords to renters? Well, renters can receive recycling bins. So at our sanitation convenience centers, you can get a recycling bin. There is one located at State Road in Ashburn. You just need a driver's license to prove you're a resident of the city of Philadelphia. If you're renting, you can show your lease, you can show a utility bill, and that's one way you can get a recycling. Responsible for providing the cans.
I'm sure response from landlords are going to be, you're slapping another cost on to me, and so let's one. We have is your name and number and everything on there. Let us have the conversation. We'll get back to you. But it's fair. It's a fair question.
I got several. Trash pickup. The workers dump the trash cans, and a lot of trash falls into the street. The trash cans are tossed back on the property. Cans are broken. I'll just say I have your address for this complaint, so I will give it to sanitation management. And, you know, all of our streets are on a route, so we know who was on that truck, like that truck. We know the property tag, et cetera, the folks that were picking up the trash. So, you know, we can train them better. They are equipped with brooms and shovels, so, you know, they can clean it up if it's, you know, if it happens and it's messy. Next question. Put more trash cans on the corners or bus stops. As the greater Northeast has become very dirty, trashy, and graffiti in several areas? And can some old trees be cut down so they can stop falling when there are heavy storms and rain? To the first point about trash cans, I know sanitation did put out a number of big bellies in the Northeast in the past year. I don't know what locations you're specifically asking for. I am stationed right over there. If you want to come over and suggest the locations that you're looking for additional cans, I'd gladly share that with sanitation leadership. And in regards to dirty and trashy graffiti, I mean, we just started the citywide cleanup. It's our first 13-week iteration of Clean the City twice a year under the citywide cleaning. So that started on May 4th. It's a 13-week program. We will be in the Northeast the last 3 weeks of this program, which is the last 3 weeks in July. So we are out there. We are cleaning up. Call 311 with graffiti. I mean, just because we're planning to be here, they can clean graffiti every day, and they do that. So as far as the trees, I mean, intergovernmentally, the Office of Cleaning works with all departments. The mayor made a point to break down the silos, and we work and we meet with every department. So I will pass this on to Parks and Rec. You just got to give me the location for us to find out what trees you're specifically talking about. Lastly, snow and street cleaning is never done in our area of any list of streets, and it's Modena area of the city. I know firsthand from like working snow duty, they did do this area. We had 10 events this year. I am, as I said, my title is data analysis. I see what's getting done, and I personally was inspecting streets in the Northeast. And I know Sean McEwen was here. I don't know if you're still here. He's the district area manager. He runs a tight ship up there. They do knock out 311 requests when they come in after, like when we open up the hotline for you to call. You know, they're very diligent. Kevin McGinley and Sean McEwen, who both work in the Northeast, they do a great job with snow cleanup. So put in them 311 requests.
We're saying according to what we have, our data, this is what it says, but let us double check. So let's make sure you get connected with, Basil is still here, around here somewhere.
Also, go to your civics.
And our civics.
Lead our civics.
Yes. Good recommendation.
Community action centers.
Yes.
Street cleaning, I mean, I have picture evidence that it's happening. So if you want to come, I have my computer, and we could sit down. I could show you all the before and after photos. So.
In Philadelphia, for those of you who are here, who are at home watching, for those of you who are still here with us right now, we are unapologetic about doing what we did here on the day. My job is to introduce and tell you and give you access to the facts of exactly what is included in the budget that I, as mayor of this city, have introduced for council's consideration. The budget is now before the City Council of Philadelphia. We continue to talk and communicate. Each council member, 17 of them, work very hard to advocate for their respective constituencies when we're talking about the 10 districts. And then we have 7 people who are at large. We're doing the very best we can with what we have. So I thank you all so very much for just learning and knowing. So if you hear somebody posting something on social media, saying something on television, or you're reading something in the paper, you can cross-reference it to the data that you actually have, and you'll know what's right and what's wrong. Everybody put one finger in the air for me, just like this right here. When you see me doing this, this is my symbol for One Philly, United City. So let me hear you all repeat after me and say, One Philly, a United City, One America, a United Nation. You sound like Bostonians. Put one finger in the air. This is for the gram, for real. Come on, let's say it. Let me hear you say, One Philly, a United City, One America, a United Nation. We love y'all. I want y'all to know I'm doing the best I can with what I have as your mayor. My team is too. Thank you so very much. Yes.